everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Alexa. Today I'm making chocolate peanut butter chip cookies. They're thick and chewy. There are a lot of different brands of peanut butter chips. I've only used 2 different types, but they both work really well and they taste great. You can find the brands in the link in the description. I would not recommend using brands that have artificial flavor because they might not taste as good. I've measured out all my ingredients and I recommend that you do so too. You can find a full list of ingredients and measurements in the link in the description. Remember to watch the video first so you can be prepared.
First, I'm going to sift together my all-purpose flour, cake flour, cocoa powder, baking powder, and baking soda. This is so that there are no clumps when I mix them with the rest of my ingredients. If you don't have a sifter, you can use a wire whisk or a fork. While you are sifting, you can push the ingredients through the sifter with a rubber spatula or spoon, or you can just tap the sides of the sifter with your hands. I prefer using a spoon. After you push all the ingredients through the sifter, make sure to tap the sides of the sifter to make sure that no ingredients are stuck to the bottom of it. If your sifter doesn't have a stand, you don't need to do this step. Next, I'm going to cream my butter. Creaming your butter means putting it in your mixer and letting it mix by itself so it loosens. This will allow it to combine better with the rest of my ingredients. Some of the recipes tell you to cream your butter with your sugars, but I find that it combines better when you cream it by itself first. Now, I'm going to add my brown sugar and granulated sugar. Before I restart my mixer, I'm going to scrape down the sides of my bowl, the bottom of my bowl, and my mixer blade with my rubber spatula. This will allow my ingredients to combine better and faster. Make sure to get as much of the ingredients off your spatula as possible because it will be harder to mix in later on. I'm going to cream these ingredients until they are combined. Because the butter is supposed to be cold in this recipe, you don't want to cream it for too long because then it will become warm. So just cream it until there are no ingredient clumps in the mixer. I can see some of the butter climbing the sides of my bowl, so I'm going to scrape it down again. I'm going to mix it just a little bit longer. My batter looks really good, so I'm going to add in my eggs. Before I add my eggs to the mixing bowl, I'm going to scramble them quickly with a fork. This will let them combine better with my other ingredients. I'm going to scrape down my small bowl with my rubber spatula so I can get as much egg as I can. My ingredients aren't mixing as well as I'd like them to, so I'm going to scrape down my bowl again. Sometimes it's helpful to scrape down your spatula with another rubber spatula. It can be helpful to remove the mixer blade from the mixer when you are scraping down the bowl because it lets you see the other side of the blade. Now I can restart my mixer. It looks good, but I'm going to quickly scrape down some of the butter that I notice is still climbing my bowl. Next, I'm going to add my dry ingredients into the mixing bowl. We're going to add them in 3 intervals. I'm spooning my ingredients into my mixing bowl because I find it easier when you're adding lots of dry ingredients into your mixer at once. Make sure that all your ingredients go into the mixing bowl, otherwise you might be missing some ingredients that are necessary to make your cookies work. I'm going to mix these ingredients until they're just combined so I don't overmix my ingredients. As you can see, some of the dry ingredients are climbing the sides of the bowl, so I'm going to scrape my bowl and my mixer blade down. The batter is really sticky, so it's a little hard to clean off the spatula, but try to clean it as best as you can. I'm going to restart my mixer for a second to mix in the ingredients I scraped down. It looks good, so I'm going to add in my second batch of dry ingredients. I'll let these mix until they're just combined. I'm I'm going to scrape down my bowl real quick to make sure that all the dry ingredients are incorporating. Next, I'm going to add in the rest of my dry ingredients and mix until they are combined. I'm going to quickly scrape down my bowl to mix all the ingredients fully. I'm going to let it mix a little longer so all the ingredients can fully mix in. It looks really good, so now I can add in my peanut butter chips. I like to add them to different parts of my bowl so they can mix better. I'm going to mix this until the peanut butter chips are evenly spread out. I'm going to scrape my bowl a little so the peanut butter chips can mix in better. It looks perfect, so now I'm going to shape my cookies. I like to use an ice cream scoop, but you can also use a measuring cup if you don't have an ice cream scoop. I'm using a 1/3 cup ice cream scoop, so you can use a 1/3 cup measuring cup. To use a measuring cup, you scoop the batter into it and press it down with your hands to make sure it goes all the way in. This will ensure that all your cookies are the same size. After the measuring cup is full, you can remove the batter with a spoon, rubber spatula, or with your fingers. Then you need to roll it into a ball. Because I like my cookies to all look the same when I bake them, I'm going to bake that cookie at a different time. When using an ice cream scoop, you press the ingredients into it just like when using a measuring cup. You still need to make sure the batter is pressed all the way into the ice cream scoop so each cookie is the same size. What I like about using an ice cream scoop is to release the cookie, you only have to press down on the sides of the scoop and then your cookie will come out already nicely shaped. These cookies spread, so I'm going to only put 4 of them onto this baking sheet. They're spaced 1.5 inches apart. If you'd like, you can skip to the next part of the video, but if you'd like, you can stay and roll out the rest of your cookies with me. Next, I'm going to put my cookies into the oven. My oven is preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. My cookies took 9 minutes to cook. I'd recommend setting a timer for 7 minutes first, and if your cookies aren't cooked by then you can set another timer for a few more minutes afterwards. You want to make sure that there's a crust on the outside and you don't want your finger to sink all the way in. If they cook too long, then the bottom can get crunchy and overcooked. Set the tray on a cooling rack to cool. I don't have a cooling rack near me right now, so I'm just going to set it on the counter until I can grab one. After 10 minutes have passed, use a spatula to move the cookies from the baking sheet onto the cooling rack. This is to ensure that the cookies don't continue to bake now that they are out of the oven. And there we have it! Our cookies are done and looking delicious. Please let me know what you thought of the video in the comments and how the recipe went for you. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can see when new videos are added. Thank you and enjoy your cookies!